Welcome to Mind Shield. We protect the mind and pursue the truth. Let's get started.
So, have you ever looked at a reading on some device and wondered, how do I turn this number into actual solid proof? Well, that's exactly what we're tackling today. We're going to build what's called a defensible stack, a really methodical way to measure the world around us. We'll figure out how to match the right tools to the right questions and, maybe most importantly, how to not jump to conclusions. Let's get into it. Okay, let's just park on this for a second. This idea right here, it's the single most important thing we're going to cover. Think about it. Anybody can get a reading from a gadget, right? But that's just a blip on a screen. It's a signal. It tells you something is there, but it doesn't tell you why it's there or what its purpose is. To prove anything, you've got to use your tools with some real discipline. And that, right there, is the big question for this whole explainer. It's not about who has the flashiest, most expensive gear. Not at all. It's about building a solid process, a methodology that can turn those random numbers into something credible, into actual evidence. So think of this as an investigator's journey, and we're on it together. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with that core principle, the difference between a signal and intent. Then we're cracking open our investigator's toolkit. After that, we'll lay down the rules of evidence, learn how to spot the weird stuff in the data, and finally, we'll pull it all together to build a case that can actually stand up to scrutiny. All right, first up, let's lock in this foundational concept. It's all about drawing a really clear line between what you can actually observe and what you might just be assuming.
You know, the scientific community gives us a perfect model for this. They don't waste time trying to guess someone's intent. They focus on what they can actually verify. So instead of asking, is this thing a threat? They ask, is there measurable evidence of harm, or is there a lack of evidence of harm? And that's the exact mindset we need. Focus on what the signal is, not what you think it's for.
Okay, so with that principle locked in, it's time to open up the toolkit. And just like any good detective, you gotta know what each tool does, what it's good for, and, this is a big one, what its limitations are. Think of the spectrum analyzer as your sniper rifle for radio frequencies. It's a specialist. If you need to know the exact frequency and the exact power of a specific signal you're hunting, this is your go-to. It's not for just sweeping an area, it's for precision targeting and identification. So if the spectrum analyzer is a sniper rifle, then the software-defined radio, or SDR, is way more like a huge wide-net scanner. This thing lets you listen in on a massive chunk of the radio spectrum. We're talking everything from satellites and planes to your neighbor's fancy weather station. It's really the ultimate tool for just exploring and seeing what's out there. Now for a tool that hears what our ears physically can't. An ultrasonic microphone is absolutely essential if you're looking into claims of high-frequency acoustic effects. It is specifically designed to zero in on and capture sounds way, way above the range of human hearing. Now, this one's a little different. A thermal camera doesn't measure radio signals at all. So what does it do? It spots the physical effects. If you suspect some kind of directed energy source is causing a heating effect on a surface, this is the tool you pull out to look for that thermal signature and link it to other events. Okay, let's just pull all that together. The spectrum analyzer pinpoints. The SDR explores. An EMF meter is great for a quick, is anything weird here? Check. The ultrasonic mic listens for the silent stuff, and the thermal camera looks for heat. But the single most important takeaway from all of this is you have got to match the right tool to the specific question you're trying to answer. So you've got the right tools, awesome. But that's only step one. Now we need a strict, rigorous method. You can think of this as establishing a proper chain of custody for your data. You're making sure it's credible, it's reliable, and that it can actually withstand some serious scrutiny. And look, these 4 steps, they are absolutely non-negotiable. First, you have to establish a baseline. You need to know what normal looks like in your environment. Second, you have to use controls, like shielding something or moving locations, to see if your actions actually change the reading. Third, be a robot. Be totally consistent in how you measure every single time. And fourth, document everything. Without this stuff, you don't have evidence. You just have a messy folder of numbers. And this just sums it up perfectly, doesn't it? Over here on the left, you've got pure noise. A random reading, no context, it means nothing. But on the right, that's evidence. It's a clean measurement, it's logged, it's time-stamped, and you can repeat it. Now that is data an expert can actually sink their teeth into.
Okay, so you did it. You followed the rules, you collected clean data. But guess what? The job's only half done. Now comes the hard part, sifting through it all to find that needle in the haystack, that one signal that just doesn't belong.
This diagram here shows you the basic pipeline, how you get from raw data to a real insight. It all starts with a sensor, an antenna, a mic, picking up a signal. That signal then gets processed, crunched, and analyzed, usually by a computer that's hunting for specific, recognizable patterns. This is how we turn a physical event in the world into something we can actually understand. And this is where AI can be a total game changer. I mean, just imagine an AI that learns your normal baseline and then just sits there, monitoring 24/7. It could instantly flag any anomaly, like a weird burst of energy, and even try to match that signature against a huge library of known signals. It's like having a super-powered assistant for your investigation. All right, we're in the home stretch now. This is the final stage. We've got our principles, our tools, and our methods. Now it's time to assemble everything into a single, cohesive, and truly defensible case. Here it is. This is your final exam checklist. If you want to build a strong evidence-based claim, you absolutely need these 5 things. Time-stamped captures from your spectrum analyzer or SDR. Calibrated power measurements, not just squiggly lines on a screen. A detailed log that connects those captures to specific events or symptoms. Proof you've ruled out the usual suspects, like Wi-Fi or your cell phone. And finally, you have to show that the measurement is repeatable. And here we are, right back where we started. It really is the heart of the matter. The whole entire point of this disciplined, sometimes tedious process is to get beyond speculation, beyond gut feelings. It's about generating objective, verifiable data that can stand on its own 2 feet. So, to wrap it all up, your whole setup, your measurement stack, it's truly defensible when you can check these 4 big boxes. 1, you used the right tools for the specific job. 2, you followed a rigorous scientific method. 3, your logs are airtight and meticulous. And 4, the data you produced is clean, organized, and ready for an expert to review without getting a headache. And before we finish, one last critical point about safety. Seriously, this is non-negotiable. Your safety and the safety of everyone else always, always comes first. All of this work has to be done in lawful spaces that you own or have permission to be in. This is about disciplined data collection, not about creating confrontations. Please be smart and be safe out there. So, you've done it. You built the perfect stack. You have the tools, the method, the data. But what happens when your investigation involves, well, people? We're going to leave you with that one to chew on. Building a defensible technical case is one massive challenge, but navigating the human side of things, that's a whole other level. Join us next time as we explore those very complex ethical lines. Thanks for tuning in.